Hi, I'm Kenny Segal, designer and co-creator of the Snarling Dogs effects pedals. Having been a professional guitarist most of my life and growing up in my father's electronic shop, it was only natural for me to build my own unique guitar effects to enhance my sound. About 8 years ago, the late great Charlie Stringer and I got together to discuss marketing my pedals, and Snarling Dogs effects were born. Thank you for your interest in Snarling Dogs.
Got 2 eyes and a nose, got 10 fingers and 10 toes. Got 2 cheeks and a chin, maybe I better look again in the humor. We can put it to the test and we'll see what works out best in the humor. One thing before I go, there's something you should know. It's the part of your soul that makes you human. Yeah, yeah. I think it's human. Yeah, yeah. Think it's human. Think it's human. Yeah, yeah.
Hey guys, here we are back again in Encore Chat, and we're here with Kenny Segal, who been a guitar player for many years, and he's also not just a guitar player, he's also an inventor. He also invented what we call the Snarling Dog pedals, and also has been playing all over the place, all over the circuit, did a lot of original materials, knows, just tons and tons of people. This is Kenny, and I have a couple questions to ask Kenny. Kenny, how long have you been playing guitar?
1,000 years?
1,000.
1,001.
Not two.
1,001.
Okay, all right. And did you do traditional playing? Did you learn, like, study guitar and
No.
No? Okay. I'm
a street guy that wanted to know more and worked with some great guitar players, and then I eventually learned from some of the best, and then used my knowledge from them to just further my own studies.
But you still, you read and you can do all that.
Yeah, I can do all that.
Okay, right.
I spent enough time.
Yeah, doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And just to back up a little bit too, how long? You played the whole circuits, you played all over, and you did a lot of trade shows too with your inventing and stuff. So one thing led to another. Did your music playing and all that got you interested in electronics too, as far as like the curiosity, or just as you invented sounds as you were playing?
Let me say this. I've always liked electronic music, but also my dad was an electrical engineer.
Okay.
And ever since I was a little kid, I worked in his shops, and after I got guitars, electric guitars, if my amp blew up, my dad would say, he wasn't really an audio electronics guy, but he said, well, let's look at it. We'd open it up, you see something that's burnt or cracked or whatever, and you replace it, and if it worked, it worked,
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of got into it, and then people knew I did electronics, so they'd ask me, can you build one of these? And I'd be like, I don't know, I'll try, and I built it and it worked, and so I kind of stumbled into the electronic thing with the help of my dad, and the effects pedals, again, I didn't know I was going to do them. I just did, and everybody loved them. So
that's how it took off.
That's what happened, And I just happen to also play, so I know what the players want, rather than just some electronics guy sitting there looking at a scope going,
yeah, this point A to point B.
Yeah, because that doesn't always work. We call it, my friends and I call it voodoo electronics when you're working with this, because you never know what's going to happen. The electronic technician will say, well, it's supposed to do this, and I say, but it doesn't. So then I have to figure out why it doesn't, and I have to run it a different way, do things differently. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, the question I want to ask you too, with combination with everything, getting back to the music playing too, how do you consider, like, today, the internet in today's, how it equates to traditional playing? Like, you sat home and you worked at it and you learned those licks, you learned your stuff, you did your scales, you know what I mean? Like, you did, you became creative. Not that, I'm not saying that the internet's not creative, but I'm saying, what's your thoughts on the...
I think that it's great. It's a great help. But the biggest problem with it is that you have these kids that come in and they play something, and then you say to them, okay, well, that was good, let's jam in A. A minor type thing, or A Dorian. They'll go like, what? I say, well, that's what you just did to try and impress me here. I thought you could do that. They can't. They can only do what they were shown.
Right.
And they don't have anybody to ask a question to. So I think it's a great tool in addition to an instructor. I think you can learn to play any instrument a lot quicker today than you could back years ago.
Right, yeah.
And I think that the blend of the two is amazing. Amazing. Yeah. One without the other, it just takes a little longer.
It's you need the balance. You need the balance on
that's what I think. I think it's a great tool that, if misused, can harm you a little.
Yeah, because you pick up a lot of bad habits and stuff like that, not doing the learning the right spot.
Yeah.
Well, if you had advice today to tell, say, kids, and I know we just touched on it, but for someone that has that inspiration, that wants to learn, what advice would you have for the kids today to tell them, like, as far as, you know what I mean?
What would you say? Just what I was saying before. I say go on the internet, look at things, try to learn as much as you can, but get an instructor somebody who really can show you how to use these things. You can learn all your modes, you can do whatever you want, but if you don't know how to use them,
what good are they?
They're pretty worthless. And then what I tell people is learn them, practice them, get your fingers working properly, and then forget all that stuff and just play your guitar. If it's a guitar, if it's whatever, same advice to any other instrument.
Yeah, whether it be piano and anything, no matter what it is.
Just learn this stuff, get your fingers used to doing, because your fingers have muscle memory. And then after you learn it, just forget it and play. Listen, open your ears, listen to what other people are doing, and play. Play with other people. That's another thing too.
To get out live and start to play with kids.
Play with other people. It's much more rewarding, and you get a whole thing happening. It's almost like like you're all on, in the same spot. It becomes like a real cosmic type metaphysical experience,
Yeah.
And you don't have to do any kind of drugs or anything. It is the drug. The music. Let the music be the drug.
Do its thing. Yeah, absolutely. Now, also, I guess. What I think, and I want people to really understand why it's so important that they should take the lessons. And I don't know if you'd be in agreement with me on this, but I think, like Kenny was saying, if you guys, have that music foundation in the background, and you're playing guitar hypothetically, and you take a solo, you want to know where you're going with it. You want to know what notes you can put into that when you're playing with other people. Not, this is the lick I learned, and let me just do this, all the time.
Exactly.
Exactly. And you would agree with that, right?
1,000%. And I also agree with, if you know what you shouldn't use, try it ananyway. Maybe you like it. I'm a real experimental type
guy
player
to do it.
Also, and I'm a rule breaker. Because the rules were written like way long ago. We don't have to abide by all of them.
Right.
The difference between a musical genius and somebody who knows nothing about music is they can play the exact same thing, but the musical genius can tell you why he did it. The other person goes, oh, no.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a real good point.
Okay.
All right, guys. Listen, I want to thank Kenny very much for coming here and putting in the input, and you have to try the Snarling Dog Pedal. It's just a very creative guy, and we will be getting back in touch with you. Stay tuned for our next video, and
keep snarling.
Keep snarling, and thanks for coming to Encore Chat. Take care, guys. Really put an effort in to learn an instrument. It's so important. Thanks again for lending an ear. Thanks for stopping in to Encore Chat. I'm Pete Schmiedhauser that owns a small little store called Schmied's Music, 831 Route 10 East in the Pine Plaza Shopping Center in Whippany, New Jersey. Thanks, guys, and stay in touch to see more videos to come.